Hello and welcome to Geoscope on Politics Social. I'm Graham Hughes and I'm joined by the wonderful Ollie Bowlerhatman. How you doing, Ollie?
I'm all right. I mean, just just to double check, have you been, sending any,
Sending you any
WhatsApp
signals on the old
chats or
Signal app?
anything like that? Yeah, or on the old, Jesus, this is just
Okay, let's talk about what's happened.
So many consequences because there's so many consequences.
In case people are watching this months in the future, the signalgate happened. It was a previous weekend, wasn't it? It was last week, but it came out yesterday.
Yeah, so this happened. Well, this happened really over the past 2 or 3 weeks.
Yes,
but it's only come to light recently.
Yes, so
with the bombing of Yemen.
So essentially, there was a signal group put together, like a WhatsApp group or a Telegram even. All of Trump's top cabinet people were in there. The head of the CIA, the head of Department of Defense was in there. The vice president was in there. And they were all discussing plans, highly top secret plans for the bombing of Houthi targets in Yemen.
Yep. And let's just say this should not happen.
Yes.
Like as how American intelligence is set out, this should not happen.
Yes.
This should be discussed in a secure location. And they have these. Yes. They have these locations.
You're not allowed to take
an office.
You're not allowed to take your phone into these places. Yeah. You are not. Sometimes they don't even have windows.
Yeah, lead lined as well.
To stop any signals, any listening devices, any bugs. And yet, they had this set up. They also had it set up with disappearing messages, which is very illegal.
Yep.
But on top of that, as I discussed this morning on Morning Brew, they invited a random journalist to join the chat group.
Yep.
Actually, didn't even invite him. They just put him in there.
Yep, just put him in there.
Added him to the group.
Yep. I mean, just feel first of all, even before you get on to anything else, the level of
incompetence
is staggering. just that action alone. Forget everything, discussing everything else for a moment. Just this pure one act of adding, and not just any journalist, but the head editor of The Atlantic.
Yes.
To this group chat.
Yeah. They probably thought they were adding Rupert Murdoch.
I hope we find out how that happened, because I just want to know the sheer level of incompetence sandwich that happened in this. I mean, I just want to get take 2 slices of bread and put it against someone. There you go, you idiot sandwich.
The guy's name was Jeffrey Goldberg, the editor of The Atlantic. So he was down in the chat as JG. Okay. Who do they think it was? This is my question now.
Yeah.
Who did they think JG was? And my question for you in the chat, have a think while we're discussing this. Who did they think that JG was? Okay, because it was 18 people in this chat. 18.
All I can think is maybe someone mistook it for JD Vance.
The director of national intelligence was on this chat.
I mean, Tulsi Gabbard was in there. Well.
CIA
actually,
director John Ratcliffe
she tried to deny she's in there.
National Security
hasn't
Advisor
actually
Mike
confirmed
Waltz.
It was her. Because there was a hearing today, which we'll
get into that in a moment. But before we do, big shout out to everyone watching. Thanks for joining us this evening. Big shout out to everyone in the chat. If you want to join the lovely chat, your words will come up on the screen. You can change the course of history, or at least what we talk about on the show, or tell us a joke, make us laugh, or drop a super chat you're feeling kind. And to do that, you need to press the subscribe button first. Wait for about 30 seconds, and then you can join the chat. But don't be a troll. We do not tolerate trolls here, and it's a bit of a one strike and you're out deal. I tend not to put people on timeout, so You've been warned. You've been warned. Don't. We've got a nice group. We've got a nice gang here, you know, Ollie. I didn't realise how nice our gang was until I watched the playback of the premiere of my show that I did with Political X at the weekend. I did a guest host gig for Sunday brunch, Sunday roast, and just people in the chat just having a go, and I'm like, I don't need this shit, man. I don't need this shit. Like, you know, I wouldn't have on my channel. Would you invite someone around to your house to insult you? Say how much of a dickhead you are. Ollie.
No, like I say, I think we're all getting it at the moment. I know why. I know who's pointing it at us. So, yeah, I'm just ignoring them, to be honest. I know where this is coming from.
I deport them from my channel. Put them in a containment camp in Guantanamo or somewhere. No. Anyway, so yeah, back to this crazy thing. Like, so Jeffrey Goldberg, the editor of The Atlantic, he claims he saw timings, targets, weapons packages, weapons packages, sequences, and even the names of CIA agents.
Yep.
And the head of the CIA was in this chat.
And it's even worse because this is just, like I say, this is just a level of incompetence you cannot fathom. Because there are like layers to this. So first of all, we've got the first thing, which is like using this violates everything like you should be using for like top secret intelligence stuff. And there's a guy called Ryan Macbeth on YouTube, and he actually worked, and I think he still does in some capacity, with like US intelligence. He was like US military, and he handled sort of their intelligence. And I was watching him respond to this, and even he cannot believe the sheer level of incompetence that this went on to. Like, you should have never have even been using this type of thing. And that's one. Like, they should have never ever been using this because it is illegal. You know, you are meant to sort of record these types of conversations, you know, in case they need to be listened back to or anything like that. So that's one. Next, of course, you have the adding, like I say, the head editor of The Atlantic journalist, who, fair play to this guy, who, you know, actual real journalist doing his job. You know, and even he was like, couldn't believe this, because in his article, he's like, am I being played here?
Yeah, he thought he was being pranked.
Yeah,
he thought he was being pranked. He thought it was like a honey trap, you know, like they were trying to get a, you know, bribery or something. Or...
Yeah, he thought he was being targeted by like a foreign government, that they were trying to like feed him false information. He even talked with people, you know, oh, is this actual like an AI program that is like sending us messages, like trying to deceive us?
Yeah. I've just got to mention a couple of super chats that have come in. Thank you so much. We've got SG in the chat there. Maybe someone did it in order to whistleblow the corrupt messaging practices. That's a nice thought, SG. But to be honest with you, I don't think they're all there. Do you know what I mean? I don't think they're all there. I just don't. I think it was absolute incompetence.
Yeah.
And we'll get into what JD Vance said about
bear in mind, we're still scratching like the top layer of this incompetence. Yeah. We have not got to the bottom of the barrel on this yet. It's deep. Yeah. It's deep.
And Ivan, thank you so much for the super chat, Ivan. That's very kind of you. For anyone who's forgotten, this should be a reminder of when the UK had a security breach not that long ago with Suella Braverman. You remember that, when she was sacked for a few days. But this is, as far as a security breach is concerned, this is off the charts. If you were an officer in the American military, you would be arrested immediately, and you would be held until you were put before a court-martial. And you'd go down for a long time. Like this level of incompetence in America under American law could carry the death penalty.
Yep.
And these guys, you know, they just denied it was classified, which it totally was. Trump is like, it's a glitch, not serious.
Trump even didn't even know it was talking about when I think he was initially questioned on this by journalists. It's like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Caroline Levitt's spin on this was no war plans were discussed when they were. And Elon Musk has said the best place to hide a dead body is page 2 at The Atlantic, which is echoing what Trump said. He said, oh, it's a terrible magazine. I don't read it.
Yeah, Pete Hegseth said the same thing.
Yeah.
Oh, The Atlantic, terrible.
He's a terrible journalist.
Bad journalist. Yeah.
Who repeated the Russia thing and the good people on both sides thing, which is what Trump fucking well said. He said there were fine people on both sides. We're talking about the Charlottesville Nazis who killed a woman and rampaged through a town screaming, the Jews will not replace us. God.
Yep.
The leopards eating people's faces party. I mean, there's a special section of the safari park for them and the Jewish people who voted for Trump. Like, you've got to be beyond stupid to think, oh, they won't come for me. They've got other targets. They've got Muslims and trans people to get to first. They'll protect me.
Yeah. How does the poem go?
First they came for Anyway, Ivan, thank you very much for the £5 super chat. It has been very generous this evening. Committee hearings in the US are beyond the joke. Ours are not great, but they're a lot more dignified.
Yeah, I can't wait for the committee hearings on this.
We've already had some hearings today, haven't we? We had, the CIA.
Yeah, you've had the Intelligence Committee meeting today about this. They had an emergency meeting over this.
He said the inclusion of a journalist was inappropriate. Do you know what it reminds me of? You're a bit too young to remember this, but there was a show in the late 90s called Brass Eye, and they did an episode. It was like a fake news show, and they did an episode where they were talking about paedophilia. And they said they had a news report that a notorious paedophile, had been shot into space to orbit the Earth alone, so that he couldn't abuse any more children. But unfortunately, due to a mix-up, an 8-year-old child was also placed on board the spaceship to drift around space forever with this paedophile. And that was satire at the time. I mean, cutting edge. I mean, like cutting satire. I mean, it's pretty fucking dark humor, but. That's the level of incompetence we're seeing here. You got Musk blowing up rockets all the time, gluing the bumpers on his fucking Cybertrucks like the dad out Matilda. I mean, this is just... I think their incompetence is it's got to be their undoing. Yeah. They just can't. They just... I mean,
it will be. I think it really will be. Like, you've had this... But it's not only this. There's all the stuff that has gone on Doge, which we still don't know about.
Yeah.
Because they've never, like, say, the Republicans have been playing, like, massively defensively for, like, all the Doge stuff that's been going on. But we know there's been a ton of stuff going on behind the scenes, and that will blow up sooner or later. That is like a ticking time bomb waiting to go off. Like, I literally cannot wait. I am like this. I cannot wait for, like, the Doge department to blow up, because it is ticking time bomb.
Senator Mark Warner said it was mind-boggling. Any other officer would be fired. I mean, worse than that, they should be court-martialed.
Yeah, I agree. The Democrats should be screaming non-stop. Just replicate what the Republicans did over Hillary Clinton and the Benghazi stuff.
But her emails.
Go after them, like they did, and just say, when they turn around, just say, "Oh, but you did this about Hillary Clinton. What's wrong with us?" And they have every right. There is actual evidence this time.
Yes, but
about this. This is like, this is not 100. This is like 1,000 times worse.
Yes.
All the stuff
it's
they
9/11 times 1,000. Yeah, 911,000. But the problem is, you're saying there should be an investigation. Who's going to carry it out? Trump's in charge of the DOJ and he's in charge of the FBI. He's stacked it with sycophants. They're not going to go after. No one's going to get fired.
Well, no, this is it.
There's going to be no accountability.
This is it. In 2 years' time, there is going to be midterms. And for all we are looking at so far, like, the Republicans are going to lose these midterms, and the Democrats are going to take back the House.
Are they? The
I
Democrats?
hope they do.
The Democrats
Because
are currently
if then,
they're currently on 27% approval. Trump is still on 46%. That's how badly the Democrats are letting everyone down at the moment. Everyone who voted for them.
Exactly. They've got 2 years to really sort themselves out.
We've got another super chat coming from Tim. Thank you, Tim. Tim's always very generous. Thank you, Tim. You make my evening. The hearing was great with Susan Collins, Republican, being unwell and not attending. Didn't want to catch the flak more life. Well, yeah, true. We had reactions from the allies because this is something else. Yep. Trump and his, country. That he
it was JD Vance and Hegseth.
Yes.
Well, more JD Vance, should we say, saying this.
So this
that this was more American isolationism on display.
Yeah. So JD Vance, he said, "I hate bailing out Europe again." Pete Hegseth said Europe he called us pathetic freeloaders. The plan was to strike Yemen and then invoice Egypt and the EU for the pleasure. And the tone of it all was just like smug, disdainful, and transactional. The way they think, the way these muttonheads think is just, what can I get out of it? What can I get out of it? Classic narcissists.
Yep. Remember that whole reason they're striking Yemen. Obviously, you've got the stuff in the Red Sea going on. They're still, trying to attack ships in the Red Sea. But the main reason why they responded like this was because they'd launched a missile towards Israel not that too long ago. This is what it was in response to.
Yeah.
So they know if they're not there, then Israel doesn't get defended. Its southern flank, shall we say, then becomes undefended.
But the reason why the Houthis are being funded by Iran is mostly because of America dicking around in the Middle East, bringing instability. Trump in particular has to take some blame for this because of the nuclear deal that President Obama negotiated, if that was still in place, if Trump hadn't just, pulled out of it unilaterally, if Iran was funding a terrorist group in Yemen, that would have been a violation of that agreement.
Mm.
So it probably wouldn't have happened. We don't know, but if they were keeping to the treaty, America would be able to get intelligence on this, clearly. But the worry here is we can't trust America with any of our classified information. We can't let them know where our agents are. We can't let them know what radio frequencies we're using or where Trident is. Or the Polaris submarines are.
Yeah, it gets worse because the ambassador, Steve, I was going to say Steve Wozniak, but no, that's Pixar.
No, he was the guy who set up Apple, wasn't he?
It was Apple. Jobs not Pixar. Yeah,
Jobs was Pixar.
Yeah, it was. Oh, what's his name now? It's Steve something. Steve W. But he was in that.
Pixar? Who set up Pixar?
Oh,
go on. Top quiz question for you all. Who really set up Pixar? Whose company
was it? George Lucas?
It was. Well done. It was the division of Industrial Light and Magic. And one of the first things they did was the completely computer-generated stained glass knight that attacks someone in the young Sherlock Holmes, which I saw at the cinema, and it's absolutely terrifying. The mid 80s, right? George Lucas was just mad. He just went, "I'm going to make these really dark fairies." He made Howard the Duck, which was beyond fucked. He made that. He produced it, and he produced Return to Oz, which is one of the scariest movies ever made. You keep your Freddys and your Jasons and stuff. I'm sorry, but Return to Oz, that is pure nightmare fuel right there. Anyway, getting off the subject here.
Yeah.
So yeah,
we'll do a pulp fiction, not pulp fiction. Yeah, we'll do a pulp fiction politics social bit of time.
But so Keir Starmer's office, not Keir Starmer's office, but he said that the officer said, "We still trust US intelligence, but we use secure channels." So that's a bit of a backhanded compliment, isn't it? We still trust you. We just don't trust you.
Yeah.
Ed Davey has gone on record to say they're not fit to run a group chat, let alone the world's strongest military. Austria's president has said this is why we need independent European defence, and I agree. And Guy Verhofstadt has said it's another wake-up call. He's called it another wake-up call. When will the EU act? And the EU really does need to get its bloody skates on.
Yep, absolutely. I mean, one of the worst things about this is just go back to to the guy Steve, the Trump's envoy to the Middle East, when he was responding to those messages,
Yeah.
he wasn't in America. He was in the Kremlin.
Yeah.
He had been over there negotiating with Putin. So he was in the Kremlin discussing secure American intelligence of strikes they were about to do on Yemen in the Kremlin, where they could intercept that stuff because, you know,
they'd already hacked it. The
yeah,
Russians have already
Signal
hacked
is not
Signal.
Yeah, Signal is not, secure.
Yeah.
So it raises questions about what else maybe the Russians got from that,
Wow.
Mm.
One Angry Pagan, thank you very much for the £2 super chat. We have to prepare to raise our shields against the US. I absolutely agree. I've seen a couple of TikTok videos of people saying, Americans saying, if we go to war with Canada, I'm fighting on behalf of Canada. And I'm like, yeah, I'll join you. Wow.
All I'm going to say is, Canadians treat the Geneva Convention more like Geneva Suggestions rather than
very good,
rather than anything else. So if I'm in a fight, I want the Canadians on my side.
Yes, yeah. God, what a time to be alive. So Tulsi Gabbard said there was no classified info in the chat today, and
that's insane because that puts the journalist even more power because he's actually got that stuff. He's even said in the articles and publicly recently he has all that stuff.
Yeah,
and he chose not to release it because he knew it would be bad for that information to be released. But if you are literally now goading him to say, oh well, actually, here you go.
CIA director John Ratcliffe, he said it was lawful. And Kash Patel, who's in charge of the FBI, he refused to confirm if the FBI are going to investigate. No one is taking responsibility. Trump said that he hadn't even heard about the biggest news story, the biggest scandal that has hit America since, well, the last one for Trump, but in general, this is bigger than Watergate. This is way bigger than
huge.
All that happened in Watergate was that some people who were paid by Nixon broke into the Watergate Hotel and stole the Democrats' plan for winning the 1972 election. And that was it. And, that's bad. You're not supposed to do that. But this is on another level. It's a 9/11 times 1,000. The Senate committee vice chair said if the Houthis had intercepted this information, US lives would have been lost.
Mm.
And why is Signal being used for war plans? Who else was in the chat? Who were the 18? And because some of them were just identified by their initials, so that's why I think they said to Tulsi Gabbard UTG in the chat. And she wouldn't answer. She wouldn't answer the question.
Yep.
And then,
like I say, if I were the Democrats, I'd be calling for her resignation. I'd be calling for Hegseth's resignation.
Yeah.
I'd be calling for JD Vance's resignation as well.
Yeah.
I would be going after all those three, saying those three should resign. Trump should fire them.
Yeah.
Because you should say if someone did this level of sharing that level of information in his business, Trump would fire them on the spot, no question. So they should turn around and go, why isn't he firing them?
Yeah. Ivan, thank you very much for the super chat. Is Signal more secure than WhatsApp? Yes, but
no, nothing. As someone who again has done is like information officer stuff for businesses, nothing is safe. Everything.
You're in our politics social chat where we try and talk about hard-hitting political topics, and Aid Thompson just goes on about his dad's balls.
You know what? I'm gonna leak Aid's song. He's done his rap. Yeah. That's what I'm gonna leak. We need to find someone to like.
You can't
turn that
tease
into a
our
song.
audience with this. You can't tease our audience and go, there's something out there.
Put it on Patreon. That's what you do.
Aid's got a proper job. He's not like me. He has a proper job. We can't do that to him. Yeah. Anyway, so how can you see this affecting Five Eyes and NATO? I mean, Five Eyes can't become Four Eyes, obviously.
Well, a couple of
reasons.
months back, I did a video on this. In fact, I did 2 videos on this. And there was, first of all, you had the Lords Intelligence Committee. And they were speaking with 4 of the previous American ambassadors to America.
Yeah.
And they were all like, we have to be very, very careful about what intelligence we share with this administration. We can't take anything for granted. We have to be very careful about it. We have to be very guarded about it. So that was us. That was being said in the House of Lords at the time about that committee. And ultimately, that would have also been said probably elsewhere in Westminster, in the civil service, in MI5, in MI6 as well. I can guarantee you that would have been repeated. If that was being openly said in the House of Lords, that would have been said a lot louder in other sections of our government as well.
Yeah.
We've also had Norway recently.
No way.
Again, a couple of months ago, Norway said, we're not comfortable with, the fact that America and Russia are getting so close, when Norway is pretty much home to most of like the Russian monitoring stations, like signal interception stations that there are. So even like the Norwegian government was like, yeah, we aren't, we're a bit, talking about that on, on that. So yeah, we aren't alone. I guarantee you, everywhere else in Europe is like, what happened here? I mean, you've already been through some of them, but it's just a sheer level of real incompetence that we are going to find out, and we have but yet to scratch the surface of this idiocy that led them to this. Because even if they dodge any accountability today or the hearings, they will be coming down the line. They will come in 2 years. If the Democrats win the next election, they will go after them then.
If there's an election, Ollie. If there's an election. We got a £5 super chat come in from Alistair. Thank you very much, sir. It's very kind of you. Lock them up comes to mind. They broke the USA laws. Democratic. Should be investigated big time. Also, no intelligence given to the
exactly. That's what they should be doing. Bringing back those chants. Lock them up. Them up. That's what they should be doing.
Yeah.
Democrats should be chanting every single time at those people to lock them up. They did it to Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton never found to have done well. Not like, it wasn't, shall we say, completely copacetic, but
but the thing is with her emails is it's something that Colin Powell did before her, and emails are kind of like a new thing. Don't forget, like in Clinton's administration, they didn't really use emails until the end of it.
They did 8 hearings about Hillary Clinton's emails and Benghazi. They never found anything.
Bloody Benghazi, Jesus. Get one of these Republicans to point out where Benghazi is on a map. Good luck with that. They wouldn't even be able to find fucking Libya. Jez Hunt, thank you very much for the £5 super chat. I'm glad that they finally caught him. Hexguth keeps sending me nudes with nuclear codes written on the cheeks in Vance's mascara. Yes, I know the feeling, Jez. There's a lot of memes. There's a lot of funny memes going around about this.
I like the one where it's Darth Vader and have the Imperials, and then it's Big Bird when you accidentally get added to the Houthi war plan chats.
When you're accidentally added to the Houthi PC small group, because that was the name of it, the PC small group. We've got a load of memes where it's like Del Boy Trotter and or someone looking at a phone. What is it, Del? It's a text from Pete Hexguth. Something about the Yemen. Something about the Houthis. It's funny in a way, but it's really
funny,
really
but it's
not
absolutely
funny.
terrifying.
Yeah,
It's funny, but it's not funny.
Yeah, and Sarah, was it Joanna? No, Joanna made a really good point in the chat there. This incident might kill Five Eyes. Another win for Russia.
Yep.
Absolutely. Abso-freaking-lutely.
It's that point where you just go, well, clearly, America can't be trusted with information.
Yeah.
That is very, very bad. Very, very bad indeed. When you can't trust America with sharing information. I mean, but this all goes back, and we should have known this would something like this would have happened, because this all goes way back to the beginning of like last January. Doge, I think, accidentally doxed a load of CIA agents, so they can't go out in the field anymore because their names and faces are now known thanks to Doge. So that happened. You have all the when Donald Trump left the White House, all the things he was keeping, like secret documents in his garage at Mar-a-Lago, and he was like showing them to people. They just are treating what is meant to be like top secret intelligence and files and stuff like that, and they're just not treating it as it should be treated. They're just treating it as like a group of frat boys, like, oh, back in was it the Blair days, was it Alistair Darling?
Yes.
Was it? I think it was, who got absolutely annihilated because he left like his government briefcase on the tube.
Oh God, I remember that. That was a long time
ago.
Like
that's like probably the biggest thing I think we've had.
Yeah,
I think comparable over here. But even that is like, even that you could go, oh well, people forget things all the time on the tube. Even a government minister, whoops, he forgets his, ministerial. Okay, yeah, it's his ministerial bag. You shouldn't be forgetting it. But we've all had moments where we've done it. We've all walked off a train and gone, oh, my backpack. Run back for it
certainly,
quickly.
I've done that, yeah.
But it's this is, as I said, it's just a level of incompetence, because I say there's layers. There's the fact that, first of all, they shouldn't have been using Signal. This should have been done in, secret government, rooms that they have for this type of stuff. You add a journalist into this chat. You then start sharing war plans over an unencrypted, comm system.
Yeah.
One of the people who is responding is in the Kremlin at the time, or that he is responding to this.
About that bit of it. That's fucking crazy, man. We got a super chat come in. Thank you very much. I've also got some messages coming in from Marco Rubio there. Should we withdraw from the UN? And JD Vance is saying, lol, yes. Hey, you changed my pick. Nice. Who's doing that? It's getting bigger. JD Vance's disgusting, horrible face getting bigger and bigger, because there's an internet meme thing going around of JD Vance's massive face and photoshopping him into different fictional characters. Anyway, super chat come in from Tim Banham. Thank you very much. How long until Trump goes after the Internet Archive? The Wayback Machine? They try and change history. I mean, they learned all this stuff
it wouldn't
from
shock me.
didn't they?
It wouldn't shock me, to be honest. Nothing can shock me at this moment with what Trump might do.
Yeah. So, we should talk about a couple of the other things that are going on. But, top tip, if you're running the most powerful military in the world, maybe don't use Signal to casually plan strikes.
Yeah,
and
just
maybe, don't accidentally include the journalist. This was the last thing we wanted to happen.
And the thing is, I think this will happen again.
Yes.
I think this will happen again. I think something like this will happen again.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about a couple of other things going on. US border policy. This week has come out that the IRS might share undocumented migrant data with ICE, which is just, GDPR is a European initiative. They don't really have that in America, along with their freedom of speech and their, freedoms that they always go on about. They don't have the freedom to not be surveilled by the state or by private companies or whatever. They don't have much help when it comes to data. Ukraine peace talks have stalled over Crimea. All the Russians are saying is, can you please stop bombing our shit in the Black Sea? And it's like, okay, Ukraine doesn't have a navy. So how does that help them?
So there's news on that front. So in the past couple of hours, they've, again, supposedly, whether this truce actually happens or not, because, again, we'll get into some of the ridiculous stuff that Russia is saying about this. They've said that they've got Russia is saying that they have agreed to a truce on the Black Sea so that shipping can restart. And that their condition for restarting this is that Russian subsidies on what Russian subsidies sanctions on agricultural products and fertilizers are stopped.
Wow.
So that is what they are saying if you want this. Now, Ukraine, however, has come out and said this isn't just a truce on the Black Sea, it is also a truce on energy infrastructure. But here's the thing. We know Russia, from when that was last announced, the last time I think I saw the tally of it, they have broken that about 28 times, I believe.
Oh, shit.
So is shipping safe? Are Ukrainian ships going through the Black Sea safe?
No.
I don't think so.
Doubt it. I very much doubt it.
I don't think so on that. I think, once again, Trump is being played by Putin. He's being absolutely
Is he being played though? Because I don't think he's a dupe.
No, he absolutely
is. I think he loves it. I think
he absolutely is on this.
I think it's like a kink.
Putin is playing him like a little
but
fiddle.
I think Trump enjoys it. This is the thing. Do you know what I mean? You know, I think he's.
No, I think he's doing it because he thinks he's like getting something of it. Like he thinks he is. He's drunk his own Kool-Aid. He thinks he is some sort of master negotiator. But a master negotiator doesn't give away all the cards in like before you've even started negotiating. It's not how it works.
I think he's a sub. I think he likes to be dominated by Putin. Sorry for putting that mental image in people's face, in people's eyes. Brains. Yorosh, thank you very much for the super chat, my friend. That's very kind of you. Trump is playing international politics like a rabid elephant in a china shop. Nobody will ever be able to put the pieces back together again. I don't see him lasting through a full mandate. Well, the hope is that he doesn't. And One Angry Pagan, thank you very much. Trump and his ilk make Eric the Red look sensible. I don't really get that reference, but yeah. I think
yeah, I agree. He is destroying international politics.
I think he makes the Moors murderers look like reasonable people.
Just always remember one of the first things Biden said after winning, after taking over from Trump, he said America's back on the world stage, and he went on like a 6-month apology tour to countries, and people forget that's what Biden had to do last time. Like, say, hey, look, that was that guy. I'm not that guy. We're not that administration. Can we go back to, like, you know, business as usual and just pretend that didn't happen?
Pretend that didn't happen. It was an aberration. The Americans loved it, mate. The Americans loved it, and I mean, I can't see the Democrats winning in the midterms. They're doing so shite now. It's painful. And I think their philosophy is that Trump's going to fuck up so badly that he'll get kicked out or something, or the people will turn against him. And it shows a fundamental misunderstanding of basic human psychology. And Labour suffer from the same fucking problem in this country. They just don't understand how people think. And look, I might upset some people watching this, but just because you can see the way you see the world, it doesn't mean anyone else can. And like trying to convince people that they are wrong about something they feel passionately about, something they feel emotionally invested in. It's like telling people that they support the wrong football team. Good luck with that. You know, I support Everton. We haven't won anything for 30 years. 30 years, Ollie. 30 years of pain for me. Like, any sensible person would say, well, stop supporting them. Support a team that wins shit now and again. You know, there's another team in Liverpool. I've forgotten the name of it, but there is definitely
Hey,
one
look,
team.
I've always said
playing
this. The local team, my hometown team, Barnsley, is there to teach the kids of Barnsley disappointments. You get used to disappointment.
How to live with disappointment
in Barnsley, thanks to Barnsley football team. That's the service they provide.
I think Game of Thrones kind of set me up for, like, the disappointment. I mean, in the show, the bad things that happened, but also the fact that it ended badly, set me up for the sort of disappointment that we're feeling now. And the last season of The Boys, I don't know if people watching this, has anyone watched The Boys, but I mean, spoilers, sorry. But the last season, if you're not caught up yet, put your fingers in your ears for the next 10 seconds. It ends on one fuck of a downer. Like, oh my God, the baddie's so... It's Empire Strikes Back territory. The Empire wins, and you're like, oh, okay, where's this going? So I hope they're going to, pull it all back in the last season. Anyway, you can listen now.
If you want to watch something good for superheroes, and you've got Amazon Prime, Invincible. Invincible is very, very good.
Is that the cartoon?
Yeah,
with the guy who looks like Stan Lee as the main.
Yeah.
It's funny, isn't it?
It's very good.
It's funny. He looks like Stan Lee. Chris, it'd be lovely to see Fox sentenced to 2 years in prison. This is Lawrence Fox, who has been arrested. Has he been arrested for upskirting offences, or has he just been charged? Have you heard about this, Ollie?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
News to me.
Loser Fox of Harrow, privately educated, of course. He from the famous Fox acting dynasty, which also includes Jamie Foxx and Michael J. Fox, Megan Fox, and Fantastic Mr. Fox, and Foxy Brown. And I'll stop doing it now. He's been charged with an upskirting offence because he's one of these people who really cares deeply about women's rights and things, women's for sports in particular. He's a big fan of women's sports. He couldn't tell you anything about women's sports, but he's a big fan, and that's why he goes around burning pride flags in the back garden on Father's Day. Like a normal person does. That's what a normal person does on Father's Day. They go in the back garden and they burn pride flags. Or at least try to. He even failed to do that. He can't do anything right. Anyway, it would be lovely to see him sentenced. I don't know if that's going to happen. Jay is saying that Everton has a great new stadium now. It does. Family Moore Dock. It's kind of cool. And they've got like a little window on one side so you can watch the sunset over the Mersey from the stadium. From the stadium, Ollie. It's our third move. Because the second move, I guess, but it's our third stadium. Do you know what our first stadium was called?
No.
It was called Anfield, which is terrible because it should be a field. It doesn't begin with a vowel.
Well, it's to to compensate for the accent. That's the Anfield.
It's Anfield. That was the Everton were the original club of Anfield, and then they had a dispute over payments or something. So anyway, look, I'm sorry, I'm completely going off subject here.
Back to Russia as well, because there was another big problem coming up. Unfortunately for this, and it will be quite bad. The consequences for this. There was an executive order basically put out by Putin, basically saying that that any Ukrainians currently in what is they deem Russia, so that's all that occupied territory of Ukraine, if they do not accept Russian citizenship by the 10th of September, they will be then forcefully removed. That means you lose all your property, you lose everything. Yep. And it's already having quite disastrous consequences, because if you're someone who was caught behind the line, that's where your home is. You've only got two choices. You either leave everything behind, or you become Russian, which I can imagine a lot of people have very, very conflicted feelings about that. I can't even imagine to think how people would even start to think like that. To be honest, your entire home is there, your life is there, but you can't sell it or anything like that. We know that, like the Hawks are already waiting for this date, so that any people who have property or anything like that don't take Russian citizenship, they will just swoop in and take for nothing.
Yeah.
So there is going to be, and I've worried about this before on here, that there's going to be some sort of mass exodus from these occupied territories, and that is going to end up going probably first into Ukraine, and then it will go into Europe.
Yeah,
we just don't know how many people that will be. We just don't know.
Plum Duff is asking if the Nazis did something similar. Yeah, I think they did. But yeah, I mean, these so-called peace negotiations that happened today in the Middle East, in Saudi Arabia. I mean, the US is basically saying the ceasefire starts now, and then Russia's saying no, only if sanctions are lifted. And Zelensky is saying, we never agreed to a weakening of sanctions. Who agreed to this? And there's a term, peace washing, to make Trump look like a global statesman while giving while Moscow gives absolutely nothing away, absolutely nothing. So Plum Duff is saying, someone wake me up when this nightmare is over. It's a bit harsh. I thought we were doing quite well on this episode. Oh, you're talking about just life in general. Okay, yeah. Sorry, Plum Duff. I'm always reminded of the last paragraph of The Moor's Last Sigh by Salman Rushdie, where he says, go to sleep and hope to awake into a better time. I often think about that. It'd be nice to do. I tend to fall asleep when I've had bad news, which is terrible because, you can't fall asleep in a funeral because everyone kind of looks at you, especially if you're snoring really loud. Anyway, Chris says this isn't a nightmare. It's a freaking night terror.
Yep.
One Angry Pagan says, Russia has a long history of doing this to the area that is now Ukraine, literally for hundreds of years. Yes, it has. The demonstrations, if Trump comes to the UK, will be massive. Yes, Tim, I agree. And there's a bit of me, and don't shout at me, all right? Ollie, all the people in the chat. I kind of want him to come because I want him to see how many people hate him. I want to see how many people hate his guts and are looking very much forward to the day, in capitals, the day. I'd like him to see that. I'd like it to be a situation where the crowd makes so much noise that is nowhere in the UK that he won't hear them. But there you go. And Diz says, yes, Tim, I will be there with a Jane Godley sign. Good on you.
Yep. Oh, so, also, we should discuss about Greenland as well.
Oh, God. So the VP's wife, the second lady, is going to Greenland unasked, and Greenland doesn't have a government at the moment. They're going through elections. This is not a great time for, rolling out the diplomatic red carpet. And they reckon they can just turn up.
Yep.
This is representatives of the US government turning up in the country that America has gone on again and again about wanting to take over.
Yep.
Well, they've lost the elements of surprise. Maybe Greenland could invite the second lady in and then say, "Oh, well, actually, your visa's not valid, and our equivalent of ICE want a word with you." What do you reckon?
I keep on thinking he's actually serious about this.
He is serious,
and it's just when eventually is he just going to pull the lever? That's the worrying thing. When will he just go, okay, Greenland's ours now?
Yeah. No, I think he will. I think he absolutely will.
And when will he go, okay, Canada's ours? And it's just when does that happen?
Well, I think that Canada should just, I don't know, take Vermont. I don't think the people of Vermont will put up much of a fight.
Yep, just go take New England. That's
Yes, New England, Illinois, maybe Michigan. Although they voted for Trump this time, didn't they? So they can fuck off. Wisconsin, they also voted for Trump this time.
Tell you what, we'll go as well. We'll retake back like the original 13 colonies.
Oh,
Do
this
that.
is another story this week. Trump said he's considering joining the Commonwealth.
Yeah.
You'll be back. Sang George III in Hamilton.
I mean,
nice.
Well, he's not wrong.
What is going on? Oh, so we need to talk a little bit about Turkey.
Oh,
We've got
yes,
7
Turkey
minutes,
as well. Yeah.
So just fill us in what's been going on in Turkey.
So obviously in Turkey at the moment, so a couple of years ago now, there was an attempted coup by the Turkish military against Erdogan.
Yeah.
Didn't go very well.
It's about 10 years ago now, wasn't it?
Yeah, but that was the last big thing, and that sort of really secured Erdogan's power base, because there was this coup, it didn't succeed, and at that moment he was pretty much seen as this top unstoppable man. And there's been a lot of stuff he has been doing since then. But now, as most people like this end up doing, they go too far. There was a local mayor who criticized Erdogan and was decided that he had had enough, that he was going to run against Erdogan in the upcoming Turkish elections.
Yep.
And he has now been arrested for who knows what, basically. And he basically has now started a wave of protests.
Massive protests.
Yep. Right, spreading across. And it's how does this then go? Does this now maybe we see another coup? Because in particular, with Turkey going all the way back to sort of Ataturk,
yeah,
there is a history of like the Turkish army sort of siding with like the people,
yeah,
and overthrowing governments. So things might be about to get a little bit cooey in Turkey. If you've got a holiday plan there anytime soon, you might want to maybe rethink those plans just in case.
Fair enough.
But yeah, things could be getting a little bit cooey over in Turkey. But it would be actually nice to see Erdogan get removed. Like I say, Erdogan. I will say this now: his stance on Russia has been actually pretty good, but as I've said, it's also been really bad because of the beef that Turkey and Greece have. Both Turkey and Greece have like a ton of like military equipment they could have sent to Ukraine, from tanks, artillery, you name it. They could have sent it, but no, it's all like parked on like a tiny island because they own it, or Greece claims they own it, or Turkey claims they own it, and they just can't stop antagonizing each other. So it stopped a lot of, I think, a lot of good potentially happening for Ukraine with that military equipment. But yeah, it will be good to see, to be honest, him be removed. But it's if this goes the distance. Like I say, who knows what will happen? We'll keep an eye on it.
They tried a coup 10 years ago, didn't they? And it didn't work. So
yeah, like I say, maybe this one succeeds this time. Maybe this one succeeds. But
maybe. There were protests last week in Serbia. This was after a railway collapsed. Railway building collapsed and led to the deaths of 15 people. And so there was 325,000 people on the streets. There's been protests in Georgia for and against the Georgia Dream Party, who were the Nazi party who've taken over. The Russian, the pro-Putin party that is in charge in Georgia for some reason. There's also been mass protests in Belgrade. Not Belgrade, sorry. We just mentioned that one. In Bucharest in Romania. Been big protests there. And this is the thing, I'm amazed at just how subservient the American people seem to be being. I know it's going to upset Mikey if you're watching, but like the protests have just been pathetic, Ollie. Like, I'm sorry, I'm going to offend some Americans by saying that, but it's true. It's just been, what the hell? Seriously. Is that it? Is that it? Is that all you got? Come on, America. They're supposed to be the country that has to arm itself in case you have a tyrannical government. You've got a tyrannical government, America. You know what to do. Yeah. So, anything else? Anything else to speak? Argentina,
yes, unfortunately, the Royal
Philippines?
Society, because I don't know if you knew about this, but Elon Musk is actually part of the Royal Society in the UK.
How?
That's, of course, like one of our big sort of science academy things. He was inducted back in 2018. Unfortunately, the academy has decided not to pursue disciplinary action against him, which I think they should, because quite frankly, at this time, kicking Elon Musk out of that society, I think is more than warranted. To be honest, I don't think he should be in there.
With you.
Should absolutely be given the boot.
Yes.
To be honest, the Royal Society should act on that and give him the boot, because he is not, as they say, according to the Royal Society, following hang on, I had it and I've moved my mouse wheel, lost it now. So it would undermine a society that would bring it into disrepute.
Yes.
So I think he has brought, again, being a member, of course, of this, technically it does bring the society in disrepute, being a member of it. He's now not going to face an investigation, which is...
Man. It's not crazy,
Like I say, just give him the boot.
Yes.
Just gone.
Just get rid of him. Just get rid of make the bad man go away. What we need to do. Okay, so I think we're going to have to wrap up in a moment. Is there anything else?
No, that's it at the moment. That's all I can think of.
We can shunt everyone over to Maximilian's feed. Before we go, we'll just say a few members in the chat here. Britain will go to Canada side, says Paul. Yeah, we absolutely would. Ivan says, no way to US and the Commonwealth. Well, exactly. We don't really want them. The thing is, though, this had been like, I don't know, 30 years ago, and America said, oh, no, why don't we join the Commonwealth? We would have been like, okay, yeah. Now it's like, no, go away. Don't want you. Joanna Hammond says, what is it with Firefox in this live stream? After about 30 minutes, the tab always crashes. Not Graham's fault, but it always happens. I don't know what maybe Firefox just doesn't like us. I don't know.
No, Firefox has gone massively downhill from what it once was.
Yeah. Billy says,
I remember if you could always tell someone with like a serious IT buff if they used like Firefox instead for like their internet browser. But now it's not the same.
Yeah.
Not what it once was.
No, it's not what it was. Anyway, Scott says, laters all. Appreciate for the company. It's needed and appreciated. Yeah, mate, thank you, Scott. You're appreciated as well. Everyone's watching this. Everyone who's watching this is appreciated, and especially the people who've joined into the chat tonight, and especially the people who dropped in super chats. That was really kind of you. Thank you so much. Big shout out to my co-host here, Ollie Bowlerhatman. You can find him at Bowlerhatman. Just tap on the link in the name, the title of this video, and you'll be able to go over to Ollie's channel. Give him a subscribe, because we all need subscriptions and they don't cost anything. If you're feeling sexy, you can join the channel. You can join this channel. Can people join your channel, Ollie?
Yep, they can join that.
Join Ollie's channel, which is pretty cool. And all of you can give us a like. You can just give us, all you need to do is give us a like. I'm going to leave you in the safe and capable hands of Maximilian Robespierre. So just keep watching and you'll be automatically shunted over to his channel by the use of the Force. No, it's not really the Force. It's just when you set things up, you can redirect your viewers somewhere else. So we're redirecting you over to Max. So say hello from us, and I'll see you tomorrow morning, hopefully at 9 o'clock for Morning Brew. And until then, I'll say hello, good evening, welcome, and goodbye.
Bye.